Hey y'all, I'm Ali. Welcome to Little Hill Homestead. If you are new here, welcome. We're a little bit crazy. We keep it very real. And you may see some funny sides of me today because it's gonna be a long yet fun day. My husband and I have done a lot of prep work. I think we probably put 60 hours into getting ready for this video and we haven't even cooked anything yet. So, what are we bringing you today? You guys have been asking for a very long time for us to do freezer meals. Well, we decided that instead of doing cute freezer meals, here's two, we're gonna jump all in. We're gonna show you 30 freezer meals. You're gonna be able to cook these in one day with a little bit of prep work the day before, which that video posted yesterday. I will link it below. But these are gonna be some casseroles that you pre-make, so we're gonna have some work on that side. But a lot of them are dump and goes. So there's Ziplocs with raw meat and veggies that you can put in your crock pot, cook a really good family meal, and very little effort on the other side. You might have to cook some rice or have some hoagie rolls on hand or maybe some veggies to bulk it up. But overall, we are trying to do as much as we can on this day to make your life easier for the next 30. Who's with me? So we're gonna put a timer on. It is now 10:20 in the morning. We got a little late start because we were doing stuff for our Etsy shop, but thank you for those orders. We have an Etsy shop, in case you're curious. It's linked below as well. It's the biggest support for our channel. We sell bread bags, sourdough, garden trugs that we make on our wood shop. I don't even know, necklaces. We've got a lot of stuff there, so go check it out. Anyways, we are gonna have all of these recipes listed on our blog. There's no strings attached. There's no fee for them. We just did this out of the goodness of our heart for our channel. So there you guys go. I'll have that link below as well. Anyways, we did a prep work day yesterday. This is cutting veggies, pre-cooking just a few of our meats, trying to make our day-to-day just a little bit easier, but we're gonna be jumping in, y'all. So here's a few key pointers for long cooking days in the kitchen. Make sure you have eaten something for breakfast, that you're caffeinated if you're a caffeine person like me. Number two, make sure your kitchen is clean and ready, because if your kitchen is a disaster already, it's gonna be a disaster. Make sure you have good shoes on your feet because you're gonna be standing quite a bit today. Take breaks when you need to, but put on some good shoes. Have a full sink of hot, soapy dish soap and water mixed together to make dish soap. Never mind. Have it ready to go because we are gonna have dishes through the day. You're gonna need to rinse your hands and stuff like that, and so it just makes your day easy. Have some towels on hand and be ready. Have a good spirit in your heart, and let's take this day on. So I may split this into two videos. I'm not positive yet. It just depends on how long this ends up being because I'm not gonna post a 2.5 hour video. We do not need to be like Indiana Jones. But if the case is two, then we'll have another one after this. But in total, we're gonna end up with 30 freezer meals for your freezer. Some of them you can split depending on your family size, so you may end up with a few more. We had one for dinner last night because I was in the kitchen, and why not just eat it? I'll insert a clip of that at some point. Anyways, I have everything laid out. I have our meats laid out. I have our canned goods with a can opener laid out. I have all of our pre-cut veggies, all of our recipes printed. I'm ready, y'all. So let's take on this day. Okay, so recipe number one for today is gonna be white chicken chili. This makes a big batch. I am gonna do it in a single bag, but you could easily split it between two. This makes 10 to 12 cups of soup, like big stock pot of soup on the flip side. So, and you can add a little more broth to kind of bulk it up if needs be. So this is something that with our family of 5, when everybody's here, or if my son's fiance is over with 6, we still have leftovers. So split it if needs be. We have a gallon Ziploc. Into that Ziploc, I have, let's see where I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna go with what's in my colander. So these are my canned goods. I've already drained them, rinsed them. In here, I have 2 cans of Great Northern beans, rinsed. 1 can of cannellini. If you don't have 2 Great Northern, you can do 1 navy as well, 1 navy bean. 1 can of white hominy. I've heard people say they don't like hominy. I don't know if you've actually tried it. It is a little weird. It's like a puffed corn, but you can leave it out if you're not a fan. We like it. 1 can of white corn. If you have yellow, use that. It's no big deal. That is what's in my colander. That's going in the bag first, y'all. This is the only recipe that I was like, ooh, I might need a bigger bag for this, but we're gonna just wing it and go for it. So we have this little stand thing. I will link it. It's from Amazon. It just holds the bags open for us so that our jobs are a little easier today to not dump everything on the counter, which I'm already doing. I should have used a smaller colander, but welcome to real life. Almost. My counter was really clean, so I'll just scoop up what's left and put it in there. Okay, colander's going in our soapy water. Let me get all these bits that I dropped everywhere in the bag. Okay, that's our first ingredients. So those are all the canned goods. To that, we are gonna add 2 chicken breasts. I have just diced these up into bite-sized pieces and they're going in raw. This one is like what I was saying we call a dump and go. Everything in it is raw. I mean, the veggies from the cans aren't, but for the most part, it's raw. It needs to be cooked. So this one, let me rinse my hand off real quick. This one, we are going to, when you're ready to use it, you dump it in a crock pot, you add the required amount of liquid, and you're done. So to that, I am adding 2 teaspoons of oregano, 2 teaspoons of cumin. You have 2 options here. You can use powdered chicken bouillon, or we like to use these better than bouillons. We find the flavor on them to be a little bit better. The prices at Costco are really, really good on these if you have a membership. So that's where we typically get it. Either way, powdered or regular, chicken or veggie, whatever your choice may be, you need 5 teaspoons. This is a tablespoon. I'm just gonna do a couple tablespoons because it kind of ends up being about the same. You know what I mean. You will see on some of these, we are quite specific, and then most of the time I just kind of wing it because this is how we actually cook around here. A lot of you guys ask me for weights and stuff on stuff, and I'm like, that's not really how we cook, but it's okay. Okay, I'm gonna leave this to the side just because we're probably gonna use it in the next recipe. Next thing you need, and this is actually our last ingredient, is onion. You need half of a large onion chopped. We chopped all of our onions yesterday, so I'm just gonna measure some out and pop them in there. I'm gonna do about, probably a cup, maybe a little bit. Yeah, we'll do that much, about a cup. And I'm gonna leave our onions to the side as well because we're gonna need those yet again in the next recipe. That is it for this, you guys. All I'm gonna do is unhook this. I should have written on the bag first, but you know, we like to defy logic around here. Let me grab my Sharpie. So on here, all you're gonna do is write what it is. This is white chicken chili. And when you go to serve it, all you gotta do is add 6 cups of water. Like I was saying, you throw this in the crock pot. You're gonna cook it on low all day with the 6 cups of water. You can do it from frozen or you can throw it in your fridge the night before and defrost it just slightly. Up to you. I'm gonna write, this goes in the crock pot on low. So I was thinking about this last night and I forgot to mention it in our video yesterday. These would be great recipes for a new mom or somebody who just had surgery and needs something easy. Just think like meal trains or things like that. A lot of these recipes would be really easy to pass on to somebody. So our white chicken chili, meal number 1, and if you split it, could be number 2, is done. Like I said, this makes a bulk. So 1 and done. Let's move on to the next one. Recipe number 2, you guys, is gonna be beef dip sandwiches. This is a shredded beef sandwich that we are gonna have caramelized onions and mushrooms. You serve it with, if you want some cheese, you could do it that day. And you serve it in a hoagie roll. So it's like a beef dip sandwich. It's delicious. So the first thing you guys need is a tri-tip. I know a lot of people on the East Coast or in the South don't know what a tri-tip is. Find yourself a really good beef roast if you don't have a tri-tip. We get tri-tip, the only place we can get it is Publix, and we actually have to ask them to cut it. You can also get it from Butcher Box. This is where that one is coming from. So, whoop, going in. Okay, so this one is like pretty minimalist. It goes in a crock pot. I already wrote on it, so I won't forget, but it goes in a crock pot all day. You let it just kind of break down. You do need to add 1 cup of water. That will be in the description or the recipe below or on the blog. The first thing you're gonna need for this one is, I like to just drizzle a little bit of olive oil over the meat. It's like maybe a tablespoon, maybe 2. The next thing you're gonna need is just 1 teaspoon of bouillon. We're doing beef. I prefer beef on beef, just, you know, but you do you. This is why if you don't have bouillon, you can use beef stock as well. It'll just be 1 cup. I don't like to freeze my liquids like chicken stock, beef stock, stuff like that. I don't like to freeze them. So I often will do bouillon or like a powdered version in its place, if that makes sense. If you want to use liquid, go for it. We just don't have room in the freezer to keep doing that. The next thing you guys need is 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire. I kind of just sprinkle it because I like Worcestershire. If you like it, do however much you want. Worcestershire, you know? Okay, to that, I'm going to be adding, let me read through these. It's 1 tablespoon of Montreal steak seasoning, 1 tablespoon, nope, we already did the oil. We got the beef stuff. We got the Worcestershire. We have a teaspoon of onion powder, a half of a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of dried rosemary. All that, you're just going to I just kind of sprinkle it in, y'all. And it's a tablespoon, not a teaspoon of Worcestershire, so I didn't go crazy enough yet. There we go. Now we're good. So that is it for your beef roast. When you go to cook it, you're going to just add 1 cup of water. Like I said, throw in your crock pot. I like to kind of get this mixture coated on here as best you can. So that's that. We're going to tuck a second bag in here because we like to serve ours with mushrooms and onions over the top. Well, yesterday we pre-did our onions. So I just did 1 onion. I caramelized it in a pan and let it get beautiful. Let me get this massaged in just a little bit while I talk. I got our onion pre-caramelized yesterday. I just did it on low behind me while I was doing other things, so it was really hands off. I don't like to freeze fresh mushrooms. I think they get a little weird, but I don't mind freezing canned. So I have 1 can of mushrooms. If you want more mushrooms, add a little bit more, y'all. If you want to do it the day of and skip this step, you can do that too. So into this Ziploc, we're going to add our mushrooms and our onions, and then we're going to just stick it in the bag. Yes, it'll get some gunk on it, which is why it's in a bag. But either that or you can keep it separate outside of the bag, but it tends to get lost in my freezer if I do it the way, so I prefer to do it like this. Now, I was showing you yesterday these deli containers that we use. I wash and reuse over and over because why not? All right. So there's our mushrooms and onions. All I do with these is heat them up in a pan really good before we serve our sandwiches. And then you just kind of spoon a little over the top of your shredded beef. If you want to add some cheese, by all means, go for it. So like I said, I just tuck this in there. I know that it gets all the spices on it, but it's really the easiest way to do this. And there you guys go. I've already written on here what it is, what we need to do, crock pot all day, add 1 cup of water. And then I usually will say how to serve it. Serve over rice, serve with a hoagie roll. Because if you gift this to somebody, they're gonna be like, what am I supposed to do with this bag? There it is. Meal number 2 is done. That one, by the way, will do about 5 to 6 hoagie rolls. If you have leftovers, you can freeze them, or go ahead and cut your tri-tip in half and do it in 2 bags. So technically, if you're a small family like ours, it'll feed you twice. All right, that's it for meal number 2. On to meal number 3. All right, we're on to meal number 3. I got this recipe from my niece, Megan. She has a channel as well. I think she's under Megan Garner, but she's the Bountiful Backyard. She's new channel. If you haven't checked her out, you should. She's funny like me, just saying. And she has toddlers and kind of in a different phase of her life. But anyways, go check her out. This one is a peppercini roast sandwich. So this one is a chuck roast. You cook it all day in your crock pot. It falls apart. You serve it on hoagie rolls with some provolone cheese. And did I say hoagie rolls? Anyways, it cooks all day in the crock pot. It's very hands-off. It has a little bit of spice to it, but not overly like where people won't want to eat it. So I have a 3-pound chuck roast from Butcher Box. I've just popped that in a Ziploc bag. Don't forget to write your instructions on the bag. So for this one, what you're going to want to write is peppercini roast sandwiches. You need to add 1.5 cups of water to a crock pot, dump your contents in there, and then you cook it on low for 7 to 8 hours till it shreds apart. Then you serve it on hoagies with provolone cheese, which we already bought, and we're just gonna stick it into the baggie. It will freeze fine for this purpose. It might fall apart a little bit for this sandwich. It's fine. Okay, so I have 3 or 4 garlic cloves. And all I did was slice them like thin slices. I did not use a razor blade if you catch my reference, but throw those in your bag. It's from a movie. Sorry. I think I'm funny, but sometimes, you know, the humor just goes, you know. Anyways, put those in your bag. The next thing we've got is, this is 1 teaspoon of onion powder. I'm just sprinkling that in. You're gonna need a jar of pepperoncinis. I canned these ones ourselves. It has garlic in it with our pepperoncinis. The only thing I'm kind of like, uh-oh about is it has all the stems. So I'm gonna pull those out real quick and take the stems off. So if you see it suddenly breeze through, that's what I did. Okay, sorry about that. I took all the tops off and then I dumped our liquid and all the contents of the jar into here. If you don't have homemade pepperoncinis, which 99% of the population won't, just buy some jarred ones. It's 16-ounce jarred pepperoncini. The last thing we need for this is beef bouillon. It is 1.5 teaspoons of beef bouillon, or 1.5 cups of beef broth. If you use that, you just don't put the water in at the end. And I'm using my hand here to get that off there. All right. Now for this one, you have 2 choices. I will usually take a little bit of shipping tape and tape this to the outside of the bag and freeze it with it so that I know that I have the provolone on hand when I need it. But you can also tuck it in the bag. This one, I don't like to do that as much because I have like liquidy stuff in there and it gets a little too messy for my taste. So we're gonna take our bag, get the air out of it, just squeeze it tight. And then I'm gonna tuck our provolone like that. When I put it in the freezer, sometimes I tape it to it, or just pop it in there. But that is our pepperoncini roast. How easy, right? It's good. It's not too spicy. If you find it to be too spicy, just back up your pepperoncini a little bit. The liquid in there is vinegary, and so it kind of cuts the heat a little bit, but it is really, really delicious. This one, typically for our family, feeds us for 2 days in a row. If you want to split it up and do something different with it, if you don't want sandwiches back to back, it does make great tacos. There you guys go. Meal number 3, done. Moving on to 4. All right, recipe number 4, you guys, is beef tips and gravy. We love this one in like the fall. It's a very stick to your bones kind of rich meal. This one does feed like 4 people, or you can bulk it up on the other side, add some veggies and stuff like that to feed more. But it is 1.5 pounds of beef tips. If you want to add more, go for it. We had just found this feeds our family of 3 really, really well. So I wouldn't split this one is what I'm basically saying. So these are just cubed beef tips. Let me grab my wash rag real quick. I don't want to leave a big old beefy mess over here. If you can't find beef tips, you can use a tri-tip or any kind of beef that breaks down really nicely. 2 tablespoons of butter going in. The next thing you guys need, I'm going to read you the list of everything that's in here at the tail end, but we need a small diced onion, which is about 1 cup of onion from our bag. Oh, onion. You're getting a lot of like the beefy, rich ones up front. We will be doing some more like chickeny, Asian-y, different ones later. To that, we need 3 teaspoons of beef bouillon, or 3 cubes of beef broth. I should have just done a tablespoon of this. Still might. I'll get my little flatter spoon. They keep getting stuck in here, so that's not the best way to do that. Anyways, let me grab a tablespoon of that going in. Much easier. So this one I wouldn't use beef broth, but you need like a more concentrated flavor with less liquid. So there you guys go. We are to this going to add a teaspoon and a half of Worcestershire. We already know Ali's thoughts on Worcestershire. And then in my container, I have 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. If you need it to be gluten-free or something like that, use whatever flour substitute you want. We need a teaspoon of brown sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon black pepper. Then we've got, I forgot those. I need some more spices. I forgot. Anyways, we have, what did I do? I missed half of the stuff. Oh, there's our garlic. 3 teaspoons, or 3 garlic cloves minced all up. I swear my brain is working. It's just, I didn't have some of my spices over here. I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of garlic, which is about 3 cloves chopped up. You guys know Shawn cut up a lot of garlic yesterday, so we have plenty. The next thing we need, we got our Worcestershire sauce. Okay, 1/4 teaspoon of dried thyme, a 1/4 teaspoon of dried rosemary, a teaspoon of onion powder, 1/2 teaspoon garlic powder going in. I did forget a couple spices, so I will grab those. I forgot. Let me see what I forgot. I forgot, oh, our salt. Helpful. We forgot the salt. It's just a half a teaspoon, you guys. It's not, there you guys go. That's about a half a teaspoon. And then we already have our garlic powder, our onion powder. We're good. We got everything else. I think salt was the only thing we missed. So, oh, that's not true. I'm doing very well here. Let me get my other spices. Okay, I got them. It's just paprika and chili powder. It's a half a teaspoon of each. It was like on my side notes and I forgot that we need it. All right. So this one is called done now that I have everything in there. I'm gonna double check, but that should be it. So this one, what we're gonna do is kind of toss it in the bag to get the flour and spices around all your meat chunks. What you're gonna do when you go to cook this one is add 2 cups of water to your crock pot. You're gonna throw this in there. You're gonna let it cook for 7 to 8 hours. At the tail end of it cooking, you are gonna take, I wrote it on here, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch or arrowroot powder to 1/4 cup of water. Make a slurry, put it in there and let it cook like 15 minutes till it thickens up. And then you have a beautiful gravy over these like shreddy pieces of beef that are like rich flavored. We serve it over frozen mashed potatoes, which I will be putting a recipe out on the channel if I haven't already. We make them in bulk and we freeze them. We're gonna use them for a few of our recipes today. And then you can add, you know, frozen peas, corn, whatever you want as a side to it, maybe some dinner rolls, stuff like that. But your main course, your beef tips with gravy over some even instant mashed potatoes, you're good to go. 4 is done, y'all. Moving on to 5. 1, 2, 3. This is recipe number 5, you guys. I'm just gonna start losing track at some point. But anyways, this one is gonna be beef and broccoli. Think like the beef and broccoli that you get at like fast food places or good Asian food places. It's got broccoli. We're gonna use fresh. You can use frozen if you prefer. It's got some round steak and you serve it over rice. It's really easy. So I'm gonna split this one in 2 because it feeds 6 people and there's only 3 of us in our household. So if more people come over, I'll just pull out 2 bags. I have 1 cup of fresh broccoli in each bag. That was something we prepped yesterday to make it easier on this end. I have 2 pounds of round steak. Round steak are like little flat steaks. Usually it looks like a beef tenderloin. And then when you open the package, they're little flat steaks stacked on top of each other. You're gonna take those and just cut them into thin strips. So I'm gonna put half of our meat in one bag, right on top of our broccoli, and half in the other bag. And I know I've said this before, all these recipes will be either on the blog or below. So you don't need to listen to my everything quantity-wise. It'll be there for you. Let me rinse my hands off. All right. And don't forget, we have that good soapy water in the sink so that we can clean up as we go. So far, all of our dishes are done. So if you see the dishes start to accumulate behind me, that's why. Because we're breaking this, I'm gonna do half of the quantities in each bag. So it's 1/4 of a cup of soy sauce. We like low sodium. That just tends to be what we prefer in our household, but...
I just grabbed the 4th cup. Do you know? Oh, you're ahead of the 4th cup. Never mind.
Sean's gonna be working on
I'm making meatballs, and I'm using the 4th cup to get the homemade breadcrumbs, of course.
So he's gonna be making meatballs on the side. I don't know if we're gonna show you a ton, like in detail on that process because he's making meatballs. But we are gonna be using them in a recipe.
Like my secret recipes away.
His recipe will be below. To each bag, we are gonna add some brown sugar. Oh, I need minced garlic. I didn't get the minced garlic. Can you hand me the garlic tub right there in front of the water thing? We've got some salt, some pepper, and thank you. Salt, pepper, and brown sugar. That's it, going into each one. I just took the amounts and split them between the 2 bags. You need some minced garlic. You need a tablespoon going into each bag. We're gonna use this spoon and just guesstimate a tablespoon. That looks good. And then the last thing that we're gonna need is some sesame oil. This is one thing that you may think you don't use a lot, and then you're gonna realize you put in all kinds of stuff. So you need, how much in each one? a teaspoon and a half in each bag. I'm just gonna drizzle it over the top. Need to buy some more. All right. And that is it, you guys, for our beef and broccoli. So this one I have written on here, what you're gonna do is put it in a crock pot with 1.5 cups of water. You cook it on low for 5 to 6 hours. And then you're gonna remove a little bit of the liquid when you go to serve it, about 1/4 cup of the liquid. Add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, put it back into your crock pot until it makes like a nice thick gravy. And 2 things. If you wanna add a little more brown sugar because you like a little sweeter, go for it. But it's gonna make a nice like gravy over the beef and broccoli, and then you're gonna serve it over rice. You already have your meat, you have your veggies. Like I said, this makes 2 meals for our family. So we have gone and split it. So that is 5 and 6 technically for us, but just one recipe. Okay, clean up and on to the next. So while Shawn is working on our meatballs, I'm gonna turn you guys to the side slightly. Yesterday we did 2 meals in our crock pot on prep day so that they were ready to go for other stuff. I'll be showing you the recipe we're using in a minute, but I wanted to show you what they ended up looking like. So this is the Cuban pork. We had this for dinner last night. I'm gonna insert a clip of that because we made tacos out of it and they were like the best. You can also serve it on like a Cuban style sandwich. It has been in the fridge so it looks a little funky, but it's basically just shredded pork and it's really like universal. You can use it in quite a few things. Think burritos or tacos or sandwiches. So that is another meal already done.
Yep. Let's be real, y'all.
It is the very end.
Our food's actually getting cold because I
cold.
keep making bad jokes.
It's the end of prep day, and we ate some of the food we were preparing for the freezer meals for dinner tonight, and I want to show you how we made it. So it is Cuban pork, and we made it into tacos. We put it on flour tortillas with some cheese and some garden veggies, and yeah, I mean, come on now, right? That doesn't look too shabby. We also had some of the rice left over from the burritos we're gonna be making tomorrow, and we're having that. So talk about an easy meal.
And then we got some tomatillos in here.
Yeah.
Tomatoes from our garden, tomatillos from our garden, jalapeno from our garden. Ali put some melted cheese on the base of the cheese.
We like
so
cheese.
Let's try it out.
So the Cuban pork, like we were saying, you can use it in a sandwich with ham and Swiss and mustard and grill it up like a panini, or you can use it in tacos if you're trying to go really fast. So anyways, this crockpot meal made 3 meals. We're using it in the Brunswick stew. We're using it for dinner tonight, and we still have leftovers for another night. So not too shabby for 1 piece of meat. Must be good, he's quiet. Anyways, okay, back to the video, guys. The last one, well, the other one we did in our crock pot last night was our barbecue pork sandwiches. So there's no liquid in it. It just has like a nice sweet flavor. You break it apart. I didn't do it last night because it was too hot, but you basically are just gonna break this apart, throw it in a pan, warm it through, add a little bit more barbecue sauce to really bulk up like the gooey stickiness factor, and then serve these on hamburger buns. We like to serve it with some slaw, or some watermelon, or barbecue-y type stuff. And that is another one that is done. The Cuban pork, you can split into 2 additional meals beyond the Brunswick stew, which we're gonna be making. The barbecue pork is probably good for 5 to 6 people with what we've already pulled out. So, another 2 done.
So we're making meatballs today. All right, this one's pretty simple. I'm gonna run it down real quick for you. We're going to do oven at 400 degrees, 20 minutes. It is imperative that you take the meatballs and flip them at 10 minutes, okay? We got 1 pound of ground beef, 1 egg beaten, 1/4 cup breadcrumbs, 1/4 cup of Parm cheese, and this is really important. You got to use the store-bought Parm cheese. It doesn't work with like a pre-shredded or a self-shredded, which is something that I typically like to do. I know I say it all the time, but in this instance, you got to use this. That was awesome. Thank you. You just have to use that. So we're going to put a 1/4 cup of that in there. A 1/4 cup of finely chopped onion And that's important. When we say finely chopped, you really need to try to almost shred it. Each family might be a little bit different in how they like their onions, so you do you. If I tell my kids, please eat onion, they go, no. But if I cut it very finely, they're like, that's the best meatball I ever had, Dad. And I'm like, there's onion in it. And they're like, what? It's because I cut it very fine for them. But if you guys love onion, cut as big as you like. We also do minced garlic. If you haven't seen it yet, you saw me cutting 80 cloves of garlic yesterday. We don't usually do that all the time. You just need 2 tablespoons of garlic. 2 teaspoons. Teaspoons! Come on, lady, get it right. Oh, she's laughing because that's what she usually says. Anyways, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 3/4 teaspoons of salt, and 1 teaspoon of dried parsley. You can put fresh in there as well. If you do, you're gonna want to go to about a tablespoon. Even with the dried parsley, which I think fits better for the meatballs, I like to go like a heaping teaspoon. We're gonna wrap them up. You can pick the size of your meatballs. I'm doing these ones a little bit larger today. When I do meatball sandwiches, I have a specific size. When I do spaghetti, I have a specific size, but the recipe's still the same. So this is what we're doing today. And we just mashed it all up in this bowl. Take it out, roll it up, slap it a little bit. That gets the air pocket out of it. And you can see, that one's just a little bit smaller. Not gonna matter. The most important thing is putting in for 10 minutes in the oven and turning it over at 10 minutes, 20 minutes total. They're gonna be perfect. And we'll show you.
What number are we on? 1, 2, I don't know, y'all, what number this is. But this is gonna be our low country boil. This one is a little bit different than some of the other ones. It's still a dump and go, but it's not a crock pot. It is gonna be something you need to defrost the night before, and then you're gonna cook it in your pot stovetop. So for this one, you're gonna, the day of, or the night before, pull this out and pop it in your fridge, let it defrost. Then when you go to cook it, you need to boil 12 to 14 cups of water, and then all your other ingredients are ready to go. The reason I say this one is different is it's not just dump one bag, you have to dump a couple bags. So I have a Kroger grocery bag here, and we're gonna keep all of our ingredients in there, so they're all together in the freezer to make it easy. First thing you guys need is 1 Ziploc. These are our baby red potatoes we washed yesterday. It is, I think it's 1.5 pounds. I think it's 1.5 pounds. It came in a little bag. To that, these are the garlic cloves. We smashed 6 garlic cloves yesterday. Just peel them and smash them with a knife. Those are just gonna go right in the bag. I'm gonna save this bag because we're gonna reuse it for something else in just a minute. To that, we need 3 lemons. I've cut these into 4 slices each lemon. So just quartered, is that quartered? Quartered. And then the last thing we need for this bag, well, not really the last thing, the next thing, is 1 onion, and we cut this into slivers. So I'm gonna do about 1 onion's worth of slivers. That seems like about an onion. Then I'm gonna seal this up and put this to the side because this goes for our other recipes. The next thing that goes into this bag, this is bag number 1, this is Old Bay seasoning. I don't have a recipe for the channel to make your own. We just buy it at Sam's Club in bulk. It is a whole lot cheaper to do it that way. You need 1/2 cup of that, and then about a tablespoon of dried parsley. Put that in your bag. That's bag number 1, you guys. So the first thing, when your pot of water is boiling, you're gonna add this in, and you're gonna boil this bag by itself for about 12 minutes until your potatoes are soft. That gives your water some good seasoning, you're good to go. The next bag we need will be the second part that you dump in. So once your potatoes are nice and soft, you are gonna dump in your corn tidbits, which these you really should keep frozen. If they're not frozen still, it's just fine. We're not gonna keep them frozen. We're gonna defrost them with everything else to make our life real easy. This came as a 6-pack. This one, by the way, with our family, we should have probably split because there's only 3 of us. We'll save it and do it a night that our son and his fiance come over because Maddie loves the low country boil when we do it. So that's what we will do. To your corn bag. Well, Shawn, this was Shawn's request. So I already said that in that previous video that this was Shawn's favorite. To the corn, you are going to add 1 pound of smoked sausage. We bought like, you know, the kind that come like in a plastic container and it's like a tube of sausage. That sounds super appetizing. Kielbasa type sausage. We just buy it there. We used to love Farmer John, but we live on the wrong coast now, y'all. So that is bag number 2. You're going to put that in the water after you do your potato part. Where'd my towel go? After you do your potato part, this bag goes in next. This one cooks for about 5 minutes till your corn is kind of cooked through. So bag number 2. Then the last bag you're gonna add is your shrimp. I leave the shrimp in the bag that it came in. You can do 1 to 2 pounds of shrimp. You can also add crab legs at the same time if you want crab legs. They weren't in our budget. We might add them when we go to cook this, depending on, you know, kind of where we are at that point in time. But between the shrimp and everything else...
sometimes there's a really good sale.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes, Shawn's right here. He said sometimes there's a good sale, and then we can get crab legs decent.
You'd be surprised how far along...
They go a long way.
A pound of crab legs goes.
A pound of crab legs feeds like 6 people easily.
It really isn't considering...
Yeah.
The low country.
For what we already spent this time, I did not want to invest in crab legs, nor did I want to store them in my freezer.
Yeah, well, we'll do that every time.
So the shrimp you cook for like maybe 2 to 3 minutes. Then what you're going to do after that is save 1 cup of the liquid that you cooked everything in. Put that to the side, just dunk it in there. Drain everything else off into a giant colander. Then to that 1 cup of broth mixture from it that you saved, you're gonna add 4 tablespoons of butter. I'm gonna put our tablespoons of butter directly into the garlic bag so that we're not wasting. You're gonna pour that over your mix, toss it in a bowl, and then we throw it on the middle of our island and then everybody just jumps in and eats it. We serve that usually with Cheddar Bay biscuits, which are like a cheesy biscuit that Shawn makes. And then one of our kids actually doesn't really love seafood, so sometimes we will cook a chicken breast on the side for the weird one that doesn't like seafood. Anyways, that's our low country boil. It's really easy to cook. What I like about it is you can have dinner on your island in like 30 minutes or less, and it looks like fancy. I mean, we recently went to a low country boil place where you pay for it. It was somebody's birthday, and y'all, it's expensive, so we do it this way. Anyways, that's our low country boil. Like I said, I keep it in just a Kroger bag so that everything is together in the freezer. Otherwise, you're gonna get stuff lost. So put that all in here. And there you guys go. That is number, I don't know, 7, 8, I don't know. We've lost track at this point. Simple, and people will think you are fancy. So Shawn finished his batch of meatballs. I'm just throwing them in a bag. This is 1 pound. It'll serve probably 4 people. If you have more people in your house, bulk it up on the meatballs. If you have a favorite frozen meatball, which you shouldn't, you can go ahead and use those as well. I have just some store-bought marinara because I haven't made ours for the year yet. We ran out. I'm gonna dump this over our meatballs. You're gonna take this, pop it in the freezer, and then when you go to serve it, all you do is I pull it out the day before and let it defrost. Then I just heat it in a pan until it's heated through because everything's already cooked. And then we serve it on a hoagie roll as a meatball sandwich. Shawn's meatball sandwiches are like infamous. They are so good. We serve it on one of our homemade hoagie rolls. He heats it up slightly, mozzarella cheese on top. Some people like it with pepperoni. He heats it in the oven with some pepperoni discs and gets them like a little bit warm. Throw those on there. You guys are good to go. Meatball sandwiches, they are like hefty and sturdy and they will feed your family, y'all. You really don't need a side with them because you're good. You're good. Anyways, I'm going to tuck our cheese, mozzarella cheese, pre-shredded, 1 cup. I'm going to tuck it in this bag so that I have it the day of in case you don't just normally have cheese in your fridge. There you guys go. That is meatball sandwiches. Recipe will be below on all these. I keep saying that, but I'm gonna go put this in the freezer. Okay, the next one we're gonna make are pork burritos. We did a lot of prep work for this one yesterday. We pre-made the Mexican rice, and then we used some of the pork that we cooked in our crock pot yesterday. I reserved some of that in a bag so that we have it for this recipe. I'm gonna try to make 8 burritos. 6 would feed our family twice, but Shawn and I need lunch. And so it's like just afternoon right now. And so what I'm gonna do is make 2 extra of these so that we have them for lunch. There you guys go. We also made our sauce yesterday. This is the one with the mayonnaise and the jalapenos, and it's super delicious. So we have our deli container of rice. I'm gonna go in with this first. I like to, on our island, lay all my tortillas out so that I can spread my ingredients evenly throughout. So I'm just gonna take our rice and try to spread it between 8. You can bulk it up with rice, you could use a little less, it's totally up to you. Some of these ended up with a little more rice than others. I will just do an eyeball and go, oh, okay, this one could use a little more or whatever. We're pretty good on most, that one's pretty sad. But if they're sad on rice, you just throw a little more meat in there and nobody complains. This one's the only one that I feel like is a little bulked up. So there we go. That is our rice that I'm throwing on the floor. So our rice is distributed evenly. Next, I'm gonna take some of our pork. Shawn is nice enough to come in here and clean up after me. We, by the way, have been keeping up with all of our dishes, and so far we've been drying and putting them away. So at this point, we have like almost no mess. Impressive, right? And the dishwasher doesn't have a lot in it. So our pork is cold. I'm just gonna go in with my hands and split it between all of our burritos. So when we have this, normally I would heat the pork up. Like that's a big chunk of fat. We don't want that. I would heat this up, everything individually. But because this is gonna be in the freezer, dog's got a treat. This was about, I don't know, maybe a cup and a half of our shredded pork. We just saved it to the side. And like I said, we had it for dinner last night. This stuff was really, really good. I like that it's universal. You can kind of use it as whatever you want it to be that day. All right, we're doing good on our pork. I have a little bit more to kind of distribute. Who is sad? You look sad. You need more meat in your life. If you want to make these meatless, I don't have words. Sorry. If you want to do it with chicken, do it with chicken. If you buy some like a rotisserie chicken would work as well if you didn't pre-make the pork.
What it really actually means is if you do want to make a meatless, we are meat people and we do like, you know, our pork and the different ways we make them. But if you do like beans, rice, and if you are vegetarian, you can grab the vegetarian beans, Rosarita.
We like the La Preferita from Azure, the black beans. Those are my favorite. We've been using those for a while.
Oh,
but
those
yes,
vegetarian ones?
They're vegetarian, yeah.
Oh, so those work. They don't have any of the
lard.
Lard in it, yeah.
No. Our homemade do.
That works very well. I do that when we make bean dip.
Wash my hands.
For that reason, of course. But a good cheese, if you're vegan, obviously that's different. I'll let you guys decide how to do that part. But rice and cheese.
Rice, bean, and cheese, RBCs.
A little bit of beans.
Solid.
And a little bit of salsa of your choosing.
Nah, we got the cream sauce. What you talking about?
Which we'll talk about.
We like to do...
But if you like meat, then yes, this pork is
get in with the
amazing.
Meat. We like the calico cheese from Azure. We pre-shredded it yesterday as part of our prep day. We like to use a little more cheese than somebody might want to on their burritos. It's almost like a quesadilla burrito at this point. But this is what we prefer on our burritos. If you want to do like a jack cheese or like a cheddar, sharp cheddar, we always say you do you. If you don't want to do cheese, leave it out. It's going to be sad. It's going to be a sad burrito if you leave it out, but that's okay. Like I said, we're having this for lunch. I will take a couple of these. Everything in them is pre-cooked, so we'll just microwave them. When you go to cook them freezer, we like to pull them out the day before, let them totally defrost, and the same thing. We just pop them in the microwave. You can also pop them in the oven, just like on a sheet tray. for like 20 minutes until they're cooked through. That's gonna cause the tortilla to get a little bit more crisp than I prefer, but that's fine. Our cream sauce, I have cheese still on me. Our cream sauce, I'm just gonna distribute evenly over all of them. One of our kids doesn't necessarily love spice, so I'm a little more careful, and I will mark the ones I'm a little more careful with. But we kind of just do that across all of them. That's why we doubled this recipe, because I knew I was gonna do a few extra burritos. Now for burritos, I find the easiest thing to do with them, who's sad? This stuff is addictive. It's so good on lots of things, but there you guys go. So I found the easiest thing to do is wrap each one individually in plastic wrap, and then we put them into our Ziploc. That way they don't get like stuck together. So to wrap a burrito, I tuck in the sides first, then pull this back, tuck it under our ingredients, and then just roll forward. And you can really do this really quickly once you kind of master a burrito roll. Whoop. That one was kind of messy, but that's okay. Anyways, I'm gonna pop these, like I said, in the freezer. And what I like about it is, say one of our kids isn't gonna be home or whatever, you grab as many as you need for that evening. We also, like I said, love them for lunch. So we do that often. But they freeze really well, they defrost really well. This is my other thing as we're making meals. When you walk through your grocery store, think of things that you see in the freezer section. You see frozen burritos and you see frozen lasagnas and stuff like that. So think of that if you're doing any kind of prep work for a freezer meal day. Just be like, oh, you know, I have seen that frozen. If you've never seen it frozen, there's a high probability there's a reason why. Anyway, I'm gonna finish wrapping these. Like I said, just take your plastic wrap. And at the end of my roll, I have a backup roll over there. And why can't they just make it easy? I need to get the one from Costco that like is on a big sheet. All right. All I do is kind of put it on there, and then I put it like corner to corner. Hopefully you can see. This is a terrible rolling job because I'm trying to do it fast. I pull in my corners just like I did with my burrito, and then I roll straight forward. So it's pre-wrapped, and then I will lock these in a Ziploc to prevent any freezer issues, and you'll have 8 burritos ready to go. All right, on to the next thing. All right, our next recipe is tandoori style chicken. This one is a very like creamy, because it has coconut milk, kind of Middle Eastern-y chicken with chicken thighs. We like to serve it in pitas or over rice. We do it with some like roasted veggies, pitas, and couscous, because we love couscous. So this one's a really easy one. We have about 5 chicken thighs in here. You want like about 2 pounds. I trim my chicken thighs up because it doesn't matter where you get them, where you buy them. There's gonna be fat chunks you don't wanna eat, tendons and bone. I know, super appetizing. So take just a second to clean them off. This one has quite the spice mix in it, y'all. This one has 2 tablespoons of garam masala, some honey, we'll add that, some chili powder, garlic powder, cumin, salt, turmeric, ginger, and cayenne. I do take the cayenne down a little bit because we have a kid in our house who doesn't love the heat, but that's a lot of spices, y'all, but they're going in. We are gonna add a couple tablespoons of honey. I kind of eyeball it. I don't mind a little extra sweetness in this one. It goes great with the spice. And the last thing you need on this one, tell me how simple this is coconut milk. Oh, I meant to tell you, by the way, we did take about an 1.5 hour lunch break. We did eat some of the pork burritos, delicious, but it did skew our time just a little bit. We had a couple things we need to catch up on in real life. All right. I did, by the way, these are 2 other things I did on my lunch break. I dumped our water in our sink and started with a fresh batch of clean water. I made sure, well, there's some dishes out, but those are our lunch ones. And then I started with fresh towels, just because. That's it for this one, you guys. So this one, what I like to do with it is thaw it the night before. I throw it in my, either on your counter until it's thawed, or throw it in your fridge. Get it totally thawed out. This one needs to cook in your crock pot, or you can actually do this one in an Instant Pot. If you do Instant Pot, it's 15 minutes, and then you need to let it naturally release for 20 minutes. We do it in the crock pot. I do it low for 6 hours. The original directions, which I will link below, say high for 4. I just kind of turn it low and let it go. Like I said, we serve it with pitas. It kind of shreds apart, but in a good way with that creamy sauce. It's super delicious, and it's just a little bit different than a lot of what we typically eat. So I kind of just massage it to get everything throughout, and that one's going in the freezer, y'all. There's number, I don't even know where we're at. 8 maybe? 9? I don't know. Next one coming now. Y'all, I've lost track. I have no idea what number this is, but it's the next one. This one is Brunswick stew. I talked about it in yesterday's video. If you're not from the South, you may have no idea what it is, but it's basically like a tomato-based soup. It's kind of sweet. It has a lot of like smoked meats and flavor and corn, and it's delicious. Give it a try. You won't hate it. So yesterday we made the Cuban pork, and no, that's it. We made the Cuban pork. What's in here? What did I make? This is just Cuban pork. Yeah, this is just a Cuban pork. Anyways, there's a cup of that in there. I don't know what I'm talking about at this point.
You gotta at least give the rant real quick here. When we first moved to Georgia, we went to
a restaurant here, and I asked this cute little Southern girl before we moved here what Brunswick stew was, and she answered me, and I said, okay, I'll take it. And Shawn goes, what did she say? And I was like, I literally have no idea what she said, but I ordered it anyways because her accent was so Southern, had no idea.
We actually know the accent now.
Now we're good, yeah. I'm throwing in 3 chicken thighs into the bag with the Cuban pork. That's just gonna add that little bit of smokiness to it. The next thing you need is 1 yellow onion. So that's about a cup of our pre-diced onion going in. After that, we have our diced red bell pepper from yesterday. So this is pre-ready to go. In it goes. In the sink that goes. We have 2 celery stalks chopped up, so I'm just gonna throw some of this in there until I think that's about a good amount. That's about a good amount. 2 garlic cloves, finely chopped. Of course, Shawn chopped 3,000 garlic cloves, so I'm pretty much set. So that looks good. I'm trying to like jam through certain recipes, and the others I'm like, hey, you know, it's cool. We have our chicken thighs that are in there. We have our shredded pork that's in there. If you have some brisket, which I do have some brisket, I could probably pull out of the freezer and throw in here. Shawn does a smoked brisket, and when he does, I cube it up. So I might throw that in here if I have room in the pot. We need 2 tablespoons of chicken broth. If you want to use chicken bouillon. If you want to use powdered, you totally can. I'm just gonna do a couple good scoops. When this goes in the crock pot, you are gonna add 6 cups of water to make up for the fact that we didn't add a liquid in there. We need 3 cans of diced tomatoes with their liquid. Please let this fit. And like I was saying, it is a tomato based, but give it a second, you'll see why it's a little bit sweet. Oh no. Give it a tap, come on, right? Then we need 1.5 cups of frozen corn. We get the frozen corn 5 pounds at a time from Azure Standard. It's really, really tasty, and we go through it pretty quickly, actually. We have one kid that moved out, and he was the one that loved corn, so we go through it less now, but that's okay. You need 1 cup of ketchup. That's where some of your sweetness is gonna come from. This recipe, by the way, we got years ago. Anytime Shawn smokes meat, I make a batch of this. It's from Hey Grill Hey, which I love the name of their blog. It's a website. So that's your ketchup. The next thing you need is 1/2 cup of barbecue sauce. I'm out of barbecue sauce. I used it all yesterday, and in my pantry, I didn't have backup, but I know how to make it, so it's okay. I have some ketchup here that I've added a little bit of vinegar to. Just use barbecue sauce if you have it.
Liquid smoke.
Little liquid smoke was in there as well. And then we're gonna add a little bit of brown sugar. That's gonna add that sweetness to make it barbecue sauce. Probably like that much is good.
Just under a 1/4 cup.
Yeah, about a 1/4 cup. And then the last ingredient going in is just a good dash of Worcestershire sauce. This one I will cook in the crock pot. I just throw it in there and cook it low all day long. When you go to serve it, you can salt and pepper as desired. Like I said, I might throw some brisket in there because I have it. If you don't, just use some shredded pork, some shredded chicken. If you don't want any of those, just throw another meat in there. I don't really care. Maybe don't do hamburger meat. That might be a little weird. But that's our Brunswick stew, you guys. Ready to go. That's a load right there. I usually defrost it the day before. You don't have to. You can throw it straight in the crock pot with 6 cups of water. And there's that one, y'all. Moving on to the next. Okay, the next one we're doing is called, well, it's basically corn chowder. This is originally a Paula Deen recipe called Captain Jack's corn chowder. We've modified it slightly because hers was just a little rich for our taste. So we've done a couple of things to adapt it, but what I like about this one is you can add meat to it if you want, chicken, bacon, ham, whatever, but you do it once it's cooked. So it's good for universal stuff. Anyways, this is the gold potatoes that we diced yesterday. They've been in the freezer, so we're ready to add to our bag. First thing you're gonna do, you need 4 teaspoons of chicken bouillon. I'm just gonna do a big old scoop because it's close enough for me. If you wanna use the powdered stuff, go for it. The next thing you need is 2 cups of half and half. I have my sous chef with me today. 4 cups of corn. Again, this is the one from Azure Standard that we get. I'm gonna have to get another one next month because I'm pretty much using it in all these recipes. No complaints. You want a good quality corn for this one? I'm not complaining. You want a good quality corn for this one because being corn chowder, you need something sweet that tastes really good. So invest a little bit.
Half and half, so we're half complaining.
Come on. No, this is why he needs. No, I'm just kidding. The next thing we've got, you need a little bit of flour in this one because it's a chowder. It wants to thicken up on the while it's in the crock pot, and that is what we are going to use to do that. We have 1 clove of minced garlic. My spoon's dirty, so I'm kind of just going to do that. Oh, that looks good. Then we need a little bit.
Hashtag Sean's not doing his job.
No, you're fine. A little bit of celery. If you want to leave this out, I usually do. You totally can. You need 1 carrot, finely diced. I quartered it and then cut it in little thin pieces. So that's good. Then, of course, we have our potato. You need 1 onion diced, which is about a cup. Oh, I already measured it out. What am I doing? Y'all, I was just telling Shawn, it's only 2 o'clock. We're not even halfway through. And I'm getting a little delusional and tired, so uh-oh. But when you're filming, you have to put a little more effort into it than if I was just jamming and trying to cook these.
But she has a clean spoon now.
But I have a clean spoon. Thanks.
No, you got enough, guy.
We're good. We're good. I need 1 stick of butter. Paula Deen's original recipe, I think, calls for like 4 or something ridiculous. It was too thick and it kept separating. So we just do 1 stick of butter, but it's enough to add a creaminess to it, but still not be overkill. We're all for butter around here. You guys know that. We'll eat it, but no. The other thing, her original recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of sugar. We do 4 because my kids like it just a slight bit sweeter. I should have warned you. This makes a big pot. You can split it or have it for lunch the next day. It will definitely feed 6 people a hefty amount. We got our sugar. We need a little bit of nutmeg. I use this old nutmeg thing and whole nutmegs. I've used this my whole life. This was actually my mom's, and I just use that. It's basically just a pinch. I just do a couple good rubs like that, and we're good. All right, this one, when you go, so we're just gonna freeze it like this.
Hold on, just 1 second. Double it. Nutmeg.
No, I already doubled what it said.
Double it again.
Oh, Libby.
Double it again. So I learned this when Ali makes French toast. Well, I guess it's my recipe, but I learned that I didn't quite use enough nutmeg. And you'd be surprised. Do it that way. Yeah.
It adds a lot. It's kind of an unexpected little flavor. Alfredo sauce is really good if you add it too. All right, we're gonna seal that. That is gonna go in the freezer as is. What we are gonna do with this is you defrost it or throw it in the crock pot as a solid hunk. It's fine. Add your 4 cups of water and then let it just cook low all day. You can do it stovetop as well and do it for like an hour, hour and a half and let everything break down if you prefer.
Did you say solid hunk?
Oh, Lord Jesus.
I'm out of the way now.
So this one, we have a couple things we like to do with it. Like I was saying, you could put some ham on top of it or bacon. Cheese, grated cheese is really, really yummy on top of it. We like to do green onion, and some of my kids like it served over rice. So we make like a stickier short grain rice. So you have like a hunk of rice at the bottom and they put this over the top of it. Shawn likes to do a garlic chili sauce on it to add a little heat as well. So really it's universal. It's a good base. You can kind of bounce off of it. If you have like company coming over, this is a really good one. You could throw some like garlic bread together with it or something like that, and you fed a lot of people for not a lot of money. So going in the freezer. On to the next one. Okay, you guys, this is the end of day one for you guys. We still have more to go, but I am going to split this into 2 videos. But I wanted to show you the progress we have made so far. Do you guys see all those freezer meals? It's kind of impressive and kind of scary. I was gonna pull them all out and set them on the counter to show you everything we have. I'm afraid if I do, I will never get them back in this freezer. So, I mean, they're still getting ready to freeze. Most of them have not frozen yet, but I mean, is that not a beautiful sight? Anyways, it goes all the way down to here, guys. Anyways, I'm gonna restart on day 2. For you guys. Okay, it didn't explode. That's good. I'm going to restart on day 2 for you guys, which will still be day 1 for me, but I am going to split it for your sanity and mine. Okay, thanks for coming along for day 1.